All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that is frankly sending massive shockwaves across the entire tech industry right now. If you've been on any developer forum lately, you've seen the panic. There's this heavy, looming anxiety around one single idea, that front-end development as a career path is essentially dead. People are constantly saying that front-end developers are going to be the absolute first ones on the chopping block in this new era of AI. So let's unpack this and separate the actual reality from all the doom-scrolling hype. So here is the multi-million-dollar question that's literally keeping junior and even mid-level engineers awake at night. Will front-end developers actually be replaced first? I mean, you see these new tools churning out entire layouts in seconds, and it's completely natural to feel a sense of dread. You're probably sitting there wondering, wait, were all those hours I spent learning how to center a div or fetch data from an API just a complete waste of time? Listen, it's a completely valid fear, and we need to face it head-on.
Well, here is the harsh truth that we just have to get out of the way right now. Honestly, the doomsayers aren't completely wrong. If your entire skill set as a front-end developer basically revolves around basic CRUD operations, meaning you just copy a Figma design, build out some standard forms, hook up a basic API, and then sit around waiting to be told what to do next, yeah, your job actually is in danger, because AI code generators and low-code platforms are coming for that exact type of repetitive work, and guys, they are moving incredibly fast.
To really ground this in reality, just look at the numbers from the Stack Overflow 2025 Developer Survey. A massive 84% of developers are already using or actively planning to use AI in their daily workflow. And of those using AI agents right now, 69% are reporting a direct increase in their productivity. This isn't some distant sci-fi future we're talking about anymore. The industry has already fundamentally shifted how code gets written today.
And the sheer speed of this shift is just staggering. Take a recent GitHub Copilot experiment, for example. It showed developers finishing a JavaScript HTTP server task 55% faster when they had AI assisting them. 55%! That proves AI is way beyond just being a hyped-up autocomplete tool. When it comes to writing out boilerplate, scaffolding standard React components, styling things with Tailwind, or doing simple API integrations, AI is brutally efficient at stripping away that monotonous work.
But, okay, let's look at the full picture here. The absolutely crucial thing is understanding where AI's boundaries are right now. Yes, AI is fantastic at spitting out code for common patterns. Think login pages, generic tables, standard empty states. But you know what it completely lacks? Real project context. It has absolutely no idea what your company's specific business rules are. It doesn't grasp the messy nuances of your existing architecture, or complex permission logic, or specific performance constraints. Basically, AI knows how to write the code, but it doesn't really know what code should exist in the first place.
Which leads us to a very real problem in the day-to-day work. Here's the catch. 66% of surveyed developers reported feeling deeply frustrated by AI code that is, almost right, but not quite. Sure, the AI might perfectly center your div, but it can also confidently hallucinate logic that takes you 3 hours to debug. In fact, over 45% of devs said debugging that AI spaghetti code can actually be more time-consuming than just writing it from scratch. This is a massive danger zone. A weak developer will just blindly ship that generated code without understanding it, leaving you with a totally fragile, broken app.
And this actually builds right into another massive threat we have to talk about: low-code platforms. Gartner is predicting that the low-code application platform market is going to hit a staggering $16.5 billion by 2027. Why does this matter to you? Because companies are waking up and realizing they really don't need to pay an entire custom front-end engineering team just to build a totally basic internal data entry tool or a simple inventory dashboard anymore. But much like AI, low-code hits a very hard ceiling. The sweet spot for low-code is exactly that: cheap, fast, simple internal workflows. However, it hits a very painful brick wall the absolute second your product requires a highly customized user experience or a serious scalable front-end architecture. Need real-time data syncing, offline support, deep mobile responsiveness? Low-code's going to struggle. So low-code isn't killing front-end engineering, it's just completely wiping out the market for weak, simple, copy-paste front-end work. And that brings us to the core of why real front-end engineering isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Just think about this quote for a second. A bad front-end makes a good back-end feel broken. It is so true. Your users literally never experience your brilliantly optimized database. They don't see your flawless back-end microservices. They only ever experience your product through the glass of their screen, the front end. And if that front end is sluggish, confusing, or just plain ugly, the entire product is a failure in their eyes.
So where does real front-end engineering still absolutely matter right now? It matters in creating a seamless user experience that intuitively guides someone through a workflow. It matters immensely in performance optimization, stuff like lazy loading, aggressive caching, and server-side rendering so the app actually feels instant. It matters in strict accessibility standards, making sure screen readers and keyboard navigation work flawlessly. And it's absolutely critical for complex state management and building scalable design systems so your app doesn't just collapse under its own weight as your user base grows.
Listen, if a developer out there still thinks front-end is merely about writing some HTML, styling it with CSS, and fetching an API payload, they just don't understand modern web engineering. Period. And this is exactly why junior developers need to stop relying entirely on basic step-by-step tutorials and start learning real, messy production patterns. Building production-grade software means you are solving highly complex architectural problems directly in the browser.
Which brings us to the entire crux of this explainer. Right now, there is a massive divide, and there are essentially two types of front-end developers. Type 1 is your basic CRUD developer. They look at a Figma file, build a basic page, call an endpoint, and wait for their next Jira ticket. That person? Highly replaceable. But Type 2 is the UX engineer, or the product engineer. They deeply understand user behavior, scalable architecture, error boundaries, and the actual business logic. They ask why the user needs this feature. That developer is virtually irreplaceable. So here is the major wake-up call for the industry. The harsh reality is that the low-skill end of the front-end market is compressing, and it's compressing fast. Look, a few years ago, just knowing React and Tailwind was your golden ticket to getting hired. Today, it's just not enough anymore. Because like we said, an AI can spit out basic React and Tailwind components in a matter of seconds. If your only value proposition to a company is, I make components, your value is dropping by the minute.
So how exactly do you escape this AI replacement zone? You have to dramatically level up your technical roadmap. You need to master deep TypeScript, not just basic types, but advanced generics. You need to genuinely understand React architecture and the nuances of Next.js rendering patterns. You've got to grasp complex data synchronization with powerful tools like TanStack Query. And you absolutely must know advanced accessibility and performance profiling. You have to evolve from being a bricklayer into an architect.
But here's the secret. Technical skills alone aren't the whole story. You also have to adopt a hardcore product mindset. The strongest front-end engineers out there master UX thinking. They are actively mapping out the user journey. They care about conversion rates, analytics, and how to run A/B tests. They want to deeply understand the underlying business logic. They don't just sit there asking, okay, what page should I build next? They proactively design solutions that actually drive value for the business and solve real problems for the end user.
And arguably the most important point, you do not hide from AI. You embrace it, but you use it like a senior engineer would. The pro workflow looks a bit like this. First, use AI to instantly blast out your initial drafts and basic layouts. Second, let it refactor all that tedious boilerplate for you. Third, and this is critical, you use your human brain to review the edge cases, test the complex logic, and ensure security. And fourth, you always maintain total control over the architecture.
The modern developer's relationship with AI really boils down to this one thought. The developer who blindly copies AI code is weak, but the developer who controls AI output becomes faster. You want to use AI as leverage to speed up the boring, repetitive tasks that drain your energy. But you must never let the AI become your brain. You are the engineer in the room. The AI is just your incredibly fast, occasionally confused assistant. So to bring this all together and summarize our core argument, the future of the front-end developer is the product engineer. The bad front-end developers, the ones who just build basic, thoughtless pages without caring about the bigger picture, they will absolutely be replaced by AI and low-code tools, for sure. But the strong front-end engineers, the ones who can orchestrate usable, scalable, and highly complex products, they are actually going to become so much more valuable because these new tools just empower them to build better software way faster.
Which leaves us with a final thought I want you to ponder. As these AI tools get smarter and the barrier to entry for coding completely shifts, where do you see this industry heading? Do you think AI will eventually replace front-end developers entirely? Or will it really just filter out the weak developers, pushing the rest of us to finally evolve into true product engineers? Let that sink in for a bit. Keep building, keep learning, and keep evolving. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.